Hi, I'm LoneWolf and this is going to be a programming tutorial for today. This is going to be your first basic steps in the programming world. What I've got open at the moment is Visual Studio. This is called an IDE, and what that does is it compiles your program and runs it and then displays it the result. So it runs the program for the C# program. Basically, you can get it at home at Express 2013 for Windows at this address on this screen here. You download this, and this brings you to Visual Studio. You select a language from here, which is English or whatever your native speaking is. You then install, and you get a version such as this. This is the professional version. Your version would just have a few less features than mine. So, to start a new project, I'm going to go for C# today. C# is a programming language. It's quite basic compared to C++, I'd say. Things are slightly easier to do. However, a lot of industry users use it. So I'm going to start this new project. And from here, you can see Visual C#. These are your different languages. You can use other languages such as Visual Basic, Visual C++, and Visual F#, but for today we're using Visual C#. So we're going to click here. You can follow along at home, and you see a list of different stuff here. Your list will be completely different. I've installed a few frameworks on my list, such as the Android framework for using Android phones, and I've also got the Monogame framework as a demo just to play around with it, and that's XNA, which will be covered in another tutorial. I think Steak is going to do some of them tutorials, and I think I'm going to help him with them. Right, so if you go into here, you can have a look at Windows Forms applications. These are form applications and use stuff like drop down boxes and text input, so to give the user more of a feel. This is console application. What this does is it displays a C command prompt kind of window, and basically it's less functional than the Windows form, which is what you'd find like on a traditional website where you see the drop down boxes, but on a Windows form you can kind of see them, say like in games where you can configure the options in games. Basically I'm going to pick a console application for today's tutorial. I'm going to give it a name. You can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it tutorial for the purpose of this tutorial, and I'm going to OK that. Right, basically what you find here is the main program.cs. For the purpose of today's tutorial you don't have to worry about too much. I'm going to introduce the basics slowly, and I'm going to try and help you go along slowly with this. Basically what's here is the main.cpp, or in this case programs.cs in C#. Basically they're both pretty much the same. These are your using statements at the top of the screen. What these does is it creates frameworks and uses some frameworks in around the basis of them. Basically, so say like if I wanted to go for the Microsoft Connect SDK and program for that, I'd have to create a few using statements up at the top saying using Microsoft.connect. And basically what that does is it taps in and allows you to use code from other SDKs and other areas, and also you can also use your own from classes and stuff like that. Your namespace is where everything lives. For this one it's tutorial, so most of them would follow tutorial or whatever you named it. I wouldn't worry about that too much, just don't change that. That's not something to change at this stage. Your class is the main class. This is the main class. You can have more than one class. You would have to right click, go into add, and then need a new item, and that's how you add a new item to this stage. And then class down here, and that would add a new class file. You don't have to worry about them for today's tutorial. They'd be covered in another tutorial. This is a static void main. So what this means is that void does not return anything on this function. This is the main function, and this is what you should use for now. We'll then have other functions later on in the project and the tutorial series, but for now just worry about putting everything in there for now. once you start learning more about programming, you'd create your own functions, your own classes, and then that would return different values. But don't worry about that for too much for now. Alright, so what we're going to do today is we're going to add two numbers together and then display it onto the screen. So how do we do this? Right, we go into the main function, which is where everything happens, where all the magic happens. We put int a number equals 1. Right, what does this statement mean? An integer can be any number that is whole. So say like 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, or back again, -1, -2, -3. What it can't be is 0.5, 1.5 decimal numbers. So that's basically what an integer does. This is a name for that variable, and that stores it as a name. So this is all but a name. Why have I capitalized that letter is because it's good coding standard, and it's something that you need to learn to try and indent that and capitalize after the second word. So this is an equal sign, so this number equals 1. That's pretty simple. Int another number equals 2. So that's giving it a value of 2. And like a number, it's exactly the same, it's just a different name, and it equals 2. That's all you need to worry about. Int total equals a number plus another number. Notice at every single time I write one statement, I put a semicolon to close off that statement. If I didn't, then this would just equal that, and obviously that would cause an error. This is because the whole line is on the same line, and that I've enclosed it and stopped it from saying it's a new line after the new semicolon. So that's basically what a semicolon does. It's important to consider a lot of errors, especially from a new standard, can be caused by semicolon handling. So basically what I've done here is int a number equals 1, int another number equals 2. So I've just given, say, number 1 equals 1 and number 2 equals 2, and then just int total equals a number plus another number. That's basic maths, and just basically what does that mean is a number equals 1, another number equals 2, so 1 plus 2 equals a total, and that stores it in another variable. And then basically what I'm going to do now is console.write, and then I'm just going to put in total. Basically what does that do is it writes it to the screen, the total value. So basically what I'm going to expect is a 3, because 1 plus 2 equals 3. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. Please like us and subscribe. Obviously we are quite a new channel. If you have any discussion or comments or questions, please post them to me and I'll try and answer them. I'm not the best programmer, but I'm trying, and I'm trying to give you a bit of an entertainment. Now I'm just going to click this green triangle, and that means run. This compiles the program and then runs the output to the screen. It's just for the purpose of this tutorial. Do not put that line. And then 3. So 1 plus 2 equals 3. And that's the end for this tutorial. I hope you really enjoyed it, guys. I think it's been quite simple, and I'll move on to the next bit where we'll take user input, and that's for the next tutorial. Take care, guys, have fun, please like us and subscribe.